Alright guys, so we have the new festival character out, which is soundtrack named Natsu. Now, obviously he's the main character, there's loads of hype on him, but let's actually take a look at all his skills today to see whether he's actually worth the hype or not. Now, in terms of the character itself, he is going to be a wisdom fire character, and as far as that combination goes, he's the only one with that combination. So if you're looking for coverage perspective, then he is actually going to be a pretty good choice. This also kind of makes him quite nicely positioned in Battle of Underworld when you try to get high ranking, etc. Because the fact that he's a wisdom character means that he is not in conflict with Natsu, and the fact that he is also a magic unit means that for whatever that restriction where you can either only play power uh, where you can only play physical unit or only play magical unit, then he wouldn't be in conflict with normal Natsu as well. So basically, you can get two DPS no matter what. So that's the kind of the nice aspect of the kind of the classification of this character. Now, if we actually take a look at some of his skills, I do have to say upfront, I think there may be some bugs with some of his skills, which I'll show you later on. But basically, if you take a look at his first skill, basically this one is do damage and also reduce fire defense. Sounds nice on paper, and it does do a bit of pushback, but pushback in the sense that you also go back along with the characters, with the enemies. So you don't create any distance, you just go with the characters and move forward by a tiny bit. Uh, Sounds really nice on paper, reduce fire defense, and all his attacks are fire, obviously. But the annoying thing is, if you actually play this on auto, so if you play this in peak contest, for example, what you notice his attack order is actually 4, 3, 2, 1. So basically, you don't actually take advantage of that fire defense reduction until your fourth attack. So in which case, this is only going to be applied on your normal attack afterwards. It's not going to be added on to any of your actual skill attack. So that's the really bad aspect of this. So if you are considering getting him for like peak contest, just know that this position is kind of wasted. So this skill is kind of wasted because of the attacking order on auto. Now, the other thing I will also want to mention is that this can reduce fire defense, which once again sounds really good, but you can't really take advantage of this yourself unless you're playing him manually. And then if you want your other teammates to take advantage of this, the biggest fire attacker is the normal version of Natsu, and you can't have both on your team. So that's another really bad thing about this ability of reducing fire defense. The best choice you can probably take is gonna be I mean, I think the only other fire FSR is Racer. And Racer is not really known for doing fire damage. He's more for just kind of like dodging and being sneaky and stuff like that. So I don't really know how often you will be actually taking advantage of this. So that's something for you to bear in mind as well. Uh, no, this is Rage Burst. Then if we take a look at his second attack, this is something which I'm not too sure whether just a translation error, or there's actually a bug or whatever. But basically it says he's going to do some attack and during that time, he's going to grant himself something called death prevention. But if you then take a look at the description below, it gives you the effect of a shield. And also, if you actually try this out in the battle, it gives you a shield as well. So I'm not sure what death prevention, just a really bad translation for is essentially a shield, or whether he is going to get a shield and also death prevention at the same time, whatever death prevention actually means. Maybe he just like he can't die within that time frame. Um, so that's something you potentially have to be wary of, whether it's just actually a bug or just translation error. Now, if you take a look at the show, it lasts for 3 seconds, which is roughly the animation of this attack. Because as you can see, as soon as the animation goes, the shield also goes. So that's essentially what it is. So when you're doing that attack, you're going to get a bit of like shield to protect yourself, or maybe even death prevention to protect yourself. The value of the shield is actually really low though. It's only 34% magic attack. So if you take a look at any kind of attack scaling, like one hit of a skill is going to break that, and possibly even like a normal attack would be able to like break this shield as well. Assuming a normal attack is 100% scaling on the attack stats. So sounds nice on paper, but in real life, I don't think this shield is going to prevent too much damage at all. So that's something else that for you to be wary of. Then if we take a look at his skill 3, let me go back a bit just so that I can actually show you at the beginning without all of the character or all of the enemy already been pushed back. Okay, now if we take a look at his skill 3, it doesn't say much other than lifesteal, but I don't know, once again, there may be a bug because if I do this, you can see there's no lifesteal actually being applied to himself. So be, once again, cautious whether this is a bug and you don't actually get lifesteal at all. But sounds a bit nice on the paper because he's a high DPS, so lifesteal should be actually able to heal up by quite a bit of his HP. So this could potentially be a quite nice skill. From practice, from the likes of Minerva in her performance in peak contest, etc., any character who has ability to heal can be quite annoying in peak contest. So I think this skill is actually going to be one of the main one for you to look forward to in peak contest. And then lastly, if we take a look at skill 4, this one have additional 50% crit hit chance, which is very, very good because that basically means he's one of the few characters that you can actually focus on building on crit damage without building on crit hit, which is going to be extremely important because to be honest, there's not too many things that you can use to increase both crit hit and crit damage at the same time. If you take a look at the magic gears, most either only increase crit hit or only increase crit damage. So having this ability with built-in 50% extra chance of crit hit as well, you can completely go down the crit damage route, and I think that's actually going to be really, really powerful in terms of when you're doing the um, customization on character between different characters for you to decide who to give the crit hit chance gears and who to get the crit damage gears. I think this is going to be very important when you try to balance them out between your team. So this is actually a really good skill. At the same time, you also give yourself control immunity, but once again, I don't know what this is above. It doesn't actually say control immunity anywhere here. So that's something else for you to be wary of. Also, note this is control immunity, not damage immunity. And if you actually take a look, he doesn't actually have any damage immunity at all built in any of his kit. The only thing he have close to that is a shield or death prevention. So yeah, just be aware of that as well. Now in terms of actual attack scaling, this has ridiculous attack scaling. I think this is the highest scaling attack in the game because it's 456% scaling. If we take this in comparison to Luxus, who only has 350% scaling, and then the normal Natsu only have 275% scaling. So if you actually compare like that, you kind of know how crazy that attack is. The caveat here is that that was the scaling when he was at 6 star, so it was skill level 12 because you get 10, and then when you are at 6 star, all of your skill get increased plus 2 level. So if you don't actually have him all the way up to 6 star, then maybe the damage output for this is not going to be higher than Luxus, but it's probably still going to be more or less the same as the base Luxus at 6 star. So that's still a very, very good attack scaling to have. Okay, so that's all of his skills. If we then take a look at his passive, what we have is the first one, you get one stack of rage every 6 seconds, and when you have 4, your next skill attack is going to be increased by 76%. And that's quite nice because, like I said, you already have one of the highest attack scaling skill in the game. So imagine you can increase that by another 36%. That's going to be absolutely crazy. The timing also more or less line up as well because you get one every 6 seconds. So in order to get 4, you need 24 seconds, and that's the cooldown for this attack as well. So for the first rotation of all of your skills, you're not going to benefit from that. But then your second time where you're using your attacks, your this skill 4 is then going to be benefiting from 36% extra attack. So that's also very, very impressive as well. Whether he can actually survive long enough for 24 seconds, that's a different question because I don't think he is. He actually have lower HP and defense stats than Mirror Jane. And from my own experience, Mirror Jane is extremely, extremely squishy in PvP. And if we then have someone like Natsu who's even squishier than Mirror Jane, considering Mirror Jane actually have like invincibility as well, whereas Natsu doesn't. I really struggle to think Natsu will be able to survive for 24 seconds. So if you don't actually have him at 6 star with his second origin unlocked, I think you can more or less ignore the skill because I think it won't be ever coming into effect for you because you just won't last long enough in the battle. Leadership skill, gain enhanced fire defense for all of your allies at the start of the battle. very bad skill. It's very situational. It's only for when you're up against another enemy with a Natsu, and even then, you're pretty much only countering one enemy, so it's just very useless as far as the leadership skill goes. Then, if we take a look at his Eastern Nano passive, so when you unlock his second origin at 6 star, obviously this being a festival unit, it's going to be very expensive for you to actually do that. But if you do manage to do it, you are going to enhance your HP by 15%. This one's really nice. Whenever you consume 4 stack of rage, you're then able to get another 4 stack of rage. It's really nice because what you tend to want to do is you want to use skill 1 first to reduce enemy fire defense, and then use your hard hitting skill 4. And if you actually have your rage build up and get wasted on your skill 1, then you won't be able to apply it on your skill 4. So having the second level is actually going to be really important because you can then use your rage for your skill 1, and then also you immediately get those 4 stacks back for your skill 4. So that's very important, and it's even more important when you put it in combination with his last level, which basically says when he enters battle, he immediately gets 4 stack of rage. So you're actually able to benefit from this 36% scaling straight away because you start off with 4 stacks. You use skill 1, which is going to use up the 4 stack, but then you immediately get 4 stacks back, which you can then use for your skill 4. So that's basically the way how you are supposed to play him. If you are playing him manually, if you put him on auto, all of those get completely out of context. So that's something you have to bear in mind. Okay, so that's basically how this Natsu looks. Is he any good? Should you pull up him or not? My honest verdict is I don't actually think he's very good. I mean, he is a very hype character, and considering he's a festival character, so extremely hard for you to build up anyway. If you do want to get him just for collection purpose because he's your favorite character, then by all means go ahead. Even at 4 star, I think he's gonna do decent damage because of his crazy strong skill 4. So I think he's still gonna be okay in modes such as Battle of Underworld, etc. But PvP is the area where I'm going to seriously mark him down because I do not think he will perform at all in PvP considering how squishy he is, and also the fact that pretty much all his skills or passive doesn't even apply in PvP because of his really bad auto system and also the design. Because you need 24 seconds in the battle for this to take effect, considering how squishy he is. He's not going to be able to utilize this at all because he's just like a one hit pony. He's going to do this one hit and maybe with the first rotation or the skill and then he's just going to die. So he will never be able to take advantage of this passive. This leadership skill is essentially useless as well if you just hit him at 4 star. So all of those are just completely pointless. His attack also means that you won't be taking advantage of this fire defense reduction debuff either. So that's another waste. So if you actually think about him in peak contest situation, like out of his 6 skills, 3 of them are effectively not really being used. So that's kind of why I feel like if you only have him at 4 star, he's not actually going to be performing much in peak contest. Yes, you are going to have a really strong skill 4, but unless you're able to one-shot with the skill 4, otherwise I do not think there's any value to actually getting this character in comparison to another character who, in all honesty, if you are able to get like even lower rarity character, let's say the normal Natsu to 6 star, with second origin also unlocked, etc. I think his skill 4 is going to be just as strong as this version, the Festival Natsu's version of skill 4. So if that's the case, like what's the actual value add of getting this character, right? I personally just saying it's not going to be worth it. Now, if you do have him completely maxed out at 6 star, then it is a different story because now you actually have a much stronger attacking move with your skill 4. So I think if that's actually the case, then I think maybe he would actually be a lot more useful if you actually have him at 6 star. But if you're going to get a festival unit to 6 star, my personal choice is going to be Minerva. Minerva have already shined for me even at 4 star, and I have seen some people posting crazy screenshot of a 6 star Minerva just 1v3 in peak contest with all her built-in healing, etc. because she can self-sustain. Natsu is not able to do that. Yes, you have a crazy high attack, but you just have no damage reduction. That's the bit that really worries me about this character. There's like no damage mitigation at all. There's no invincibility in any of his skills. The only one he have is his shield and possibly death prevention. But in all honesty, if you need to prevent deaths in your first rotation of skills, that already means that you're not going to survive much longer. Like if you're already at the brink of death by the third attack in, then that already is a big alarming bell for me. If your Natsu can only last like 5 seconds in the battle, that's really, really worrying. So I just don't really like the fact that there's no like damage prevention at all in any of his kit. Yes, you do have this lifesteal, but first of all, there's a bug right now, so I'm not even sure whether that's being applied. And also it doesn't say how long it's going to be applied. And also considers the second attack that you use. It does also made me wonder how much lifesteal you can actually get back, because if you actually take a look at his auto attack order, he is skill 4 first, then skill 3. Like, how much lifesteal are you going to get? Well, considering you are only one attack into the battle, right? So that's the other bit which also worries me. But I'm going to reserve my judgment till they at least fix this bug, so I'm actually sure there's actually lifesteal being applied, and also how long the life steal is, because that could still change it. Like if it's something crazy like life steal for 20 seconds, then yeah, all of a sudden your Sound Dragon Natsu is going to be amazing. But until I actually see something like that for how long that duration of life steal is, my judgment on Natsu is not going to be great, because I just think he's frankly way, way, way too fragile to be of any use in PvP. In PvE, in Battle of Underworld, in any boss battle, he's gonna be absolutely amazing. But PvP, I don't think he's gonna be playable at all. At least not any more playable than a 6-star normal Natsu. And considering everyone more or less already have a 6-star normal Natsu, I just don't see any reason of why you'd be neglecting your normal Natsu over this version of Natsu if he's on that 4-star. So that's kind of my thoughts on this character. Um, Completely serial build based, because I'm not going to pull on him because I don't think he's any good. But if he's your favorite character, then go ahead and summon on him. He's a festival character anyway. Your resources are probably never going to be enough to completely build one. So nothing wrong with just going for your favorite character. And that if that is someone you have managed to get and tried out in practice, then do let me know how he actually performs for you. Because I am actually interested to see whether my judgment on him is a bit too harsh, purely based on the way his kit looks, without any actual real testing.